Villa Roma Television. All Point Sports tonight. My special guest, Stephen J. and you. So if you want to talk sports, we'll have you on the show tonight. How you doing, Stephen J?
Yeah, what could be better? Doc Holliday, we're right smack dab in the middle of week 7 here at the Villa Roma. President's Week, up on the mez. We got people coming up and down, all coming from pretty much every which way of the resort. And we got a whole fun-packed night for everyone here. And pretty much everywhere you go, you're going to find something to do, people there to hang out with, and it's just going to be a great Wednesday night here in the Catskills, like always. Right, Doc?
That's right. And this is All Point Sports. We took a little hiatus. It's brought to you by our sponsor, Eddie Edge, at Edge Remodeling in Franklin Square, Long Island. He's our sponsor, and if you'd like to be a sponsor of All Point Sports, let us know. We're live right now. We're talking sports. We're here at Villa Roma, and one of the biggest sports here at Villa Roma, bocce ball. Tell them about it, Stephen J.
Man, that's... If you come to the Villa Roma and you don't play bocce ball, then you're probably in a very slim minority here at the Villa Roma. All throughout the summer, right, Doc? We have a bocce ball tournament each week, pretty much from Memorial Day to Labor Day. And you think that if you just win the week, you get a little prize and that's it, and we'll see you next year. Not this year. This year we changed it up, and we had our very own DJ Bobby Blackjack, and he basically gave birth to this idea of a new bocce ball tournament. We have, of course, the Villa Roma's Got Talent finals in October, but he said for everyone that wins, why don't we keep it going? Why don't we bring them back in October? And that's what we did, and we had a grand marshal for our bocce ball tournament, right, Doc?
That's right, from WCBS-FM 101.1 Greatest Hits, Joe Causey. Who better to be the bocce judge than Joe Causey himself? He was here, and he had to make some really tough calls, didn't he, Stephen J?
Yeah, Mr. Causey, I don't envy the spot that he was in. I think after running a little bocce ball tournament, when I say a little bocce ball tournament, I mean, we probably had a couple hundred people enrolled in the whole tournament, but I think Joe Causey wanted to go back to the heart of New York City and host a radio show instead of being a judge with how difficult some of the decisions were. And of course we had the finals, we had the bocce ball finals as well, and not only with Joe Causey, but we also had, who threw out the first ball, the first bocce ball, we had the number 2 horse, Iggy, right? He was, what would you say, the bocce grand marshal, the ceremonial first bocce ball thrower?
He was the grand marshal of the bocce tournament, Iggy Panaduro of Brooklyn, New York, and he threw out the first bocce ball in the tournament. And what a ceremony it was here at Villa Roma.
People were crying. There were people getting emotional.
There were people getting emotional. There were tears, because bocce is a big tradition here at Villa Roma. Well, what do we have on tap tonight, Stephen J?
Well, I think we found the one and only mic that we can use in the Catskills, so that certainly won't get old. We'll just be passing it off back and forth. This is high quality audio. It's only 2024, and we have to share one cord mic. And of course, only the best here at All Point Sports. And you know, you said that we were on a hiatus. We actually...
Hey, hold on. Where is Mike the sound guy with the 35 mics he has in this thing? Now, where is Mike?
I don't know if we pay enough for 2 sound engineers, right, Doc? We thought that just having one to do the job would be enough, but now we need someone who does the sound. We need someone to do the sound for the sound man, and that's not right. But nevertheless, we actually, Doc, I don't know if you know this, you know, we said that we were on a hiatus from All Point Sports. We were rocking and rolling all throughout the spring, once a week. In the spring of 2023, we had guests like Chris Monty on to talk the Kentucky Derby. We had Fred Rubino to basically put the Mets and Yankees in a body bag. We had a lot.
Adam Iseloff.
Yeah, we had Adam Iseloff. He's a big Knick fan, and you know that he's nice and giddy these days. But
JG the kid, my boy John, out in South Dakota.
We got a phone up JG.
Real quick, we had Stephanie Flaum on, who, by the way, is pretty pissed off that I was here till 4 o'clock in the morning this weekend DJing, because when she's here, She wants me here at 4 o'clock in the morning, DJ.
Well,
dancing.
we have a solution. She should join the Emerald Society.
And she
So
should
she
become a
should-
Yankee fan.
Yeah.
She's
Yes.
a Met fan. Met fans only party till 2 in the morning. Yankee fans go till 4 in the morning here at Villaroma.
Yeah, our resident Met fan, and I think definitely with Stephanie. I mean, Stephanie hasn't seen a Mets championship in her lifetime, and then some. Maybe 2 of Stephanie's lifetimes, and then so on. But we got baseball coming up, and of course we got our friends watching online. If you want to comment too, Bobby Blackjack's got you covered, and we have a whole lot of people watching from different parts of the country.
So let's get a first guest on. We have a green room over here.
Yeah.
So let me go over and grab it. All right, let's get the little guy up here. All right.
Wow, look at this. What's up, brother? Now, you know that this is a visual medium, right? So you came in wearing the colorful, what is this, Slurpee pants? What are these, shorts? 7-Eleven shorts? And then we got these giblets right here on the Crocs. And you said that you're the sports guy, right? So we got, what's that? What team is that?
Harrison Sports Defense. That's my school's team.
All right, so we
We
got,
used to play Harrison. We used to play Harrison in sports. Valhalla guy right here, VHS. We used to play Harrison twice a year. Soccer. My first win ever as goalie for VHS, 1974, was against Harrison. 1-0. What a game.
1974, so you just missed Doc, pretty much. And that was when everything was in black and white, pretty much. And we got Raiders giblets. Are you a Raider fan?
Yeah.
Wow.
Are you serious? Raider fan. Are you here to talk Raiders?
No.
No? All right, that's probably good, because that'd be a pretty...
Well, who's your favorite
sorrow
Raider? Who's your
song.
favorite Raider player?
Like all time or
Right now, right
currently? Currently?
He's an all-time favorite Raider.
Wow.
Currently is Josh Jacobs.
All right.
Okay.
All time?
All time is Bo Jackson.
Wow.
Bo Jackson.
Bo Jackson.
We're messing
Bob's
around.
got a Bo Jackson card.
I got a card. I got a jersey.
Oh my goodness, we got that. We got, is that MJ?
Yeah.
We got MJ Duncan. That'll be you someday, Duncan, the basketball. Maybe 1 or 2 more years. And then we got, what is that, J6? Is 6 your number?
Yeah.
Okay.
So tell us, what do you know about Bo Jackson? Tell us something about Bo Jackson. Maybe some other people don't know.
He played football. He played in the NFL and the MLB at the same time. He was an MLB All-Star Game MVP. He fought Nolan Ryan.
Who do you think won that fight?
Nolan Ryan. An injury in football made his career end, and he didn't accept a draft pick. I think it was by Denver, like first overall. He didn't accept it, so he went later on in the draft.
And what's Bo doing
I'm
now?
speechless. This is...
Now, who do you play for in baseball?
The Royals,
Did you wear the same color?
yeah, the White Sox, and the Angels.
Wow.
Come on! Man, the sports guy here. And of course, you had a couple of topics that you wanted to talk about, right? And so what do you want to start off with? What sport do you want to start with?
Start off with baseball.
Baseball? All right. Who's your favorite baseball team?
The Mets.
Oh.
I'm gonna pause this now.
You're surrounded by Yankee fans, so you're not intimidated at all.
I'm not intimidated.
Good.
I feel good.
All right. Now tell me your analysis of the Mets last year, because they had good
Yeah.
aspirations.
I feel like it was a bad idea to give up Verlander and Scherzer, because Verlander had ended off good with the Astros. Scherzer was injury prone at that time, but did have Alvarez having an incredible year and Pete Alonso had an incredible year, so that's my thoughts on them.
All right, so we could probably say that it was safe to say that you were very excited going into the season last year. Like you said, Scherzer, Verlander, all these great pitchers. So you're saying that you wanted them to keep you think they gave up too soon, do you think?
I think they gave up too soon at All-Star break. I think maybe it was a good idea to trade Scherzer because he was kind of injured most of the year, and I feel like they just could have kept Verlander though.
All right, and of
Do
course,
they still pay some of the money? Do they still pay some of the money on those contracts to the Mets, even though those people aren't playing for the Mets?
I don't think so.
you're a big Met fan. Who's your favorite Met right now?
Right now, it's Pete Alonso.
Gotta be Pete Alonso, right? The guy's unbelievable, right? He's awesome. Tell us some things about Pete Alonso.
He is a two-time home run derby champion. He's been in the derby 4 times. He has hit the most home runs ever as a rookie, with 53, beating Aaron Judge, who had 52.
Look at me, that's why I say that. I mean, I
I
don't
was
know why.
looking at Bobby right in the eyes when he said that too.
He is
I'm wearing Yankee stuff on, he's looking at me.
multi-time All-Star, and Ken Griffey Jr. has 3 home run derby wins, and he's second for the most home run derby wins ever in an MLB career.
Man, Doc, he's spitting fire right now. This mic is red hot. So, Pete Alonso, you said he's your favorite player, and this is going to be, an exciting year for Pete, but also it might be a little bit of an emotional year because you don't know if Pete Alonso is going to come back because he's a free agent after the year. Now, you would obviously want Pete Alonso to stay a Met for life, right?
Yes, and there's also rumors that he doesn't like it in New York. He wants to be traded, but I think he's gonna stay at Met.
Okay. And so you think he's going to stay a Met? You think the Mets are going to give him the money that he wants and they're going to do right by him?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so let's talk the owner of the New York Mets. Guy made his money in hedge funds, mostly, and made some really good investments.
So, who are we talking about? Who's the owner of the New York Mets?
I really don't know.
Yeah, Steve Cohen, and he started out with the Mets in a lesser position. He really made it good money. Now, if he's watching our show right now, and you telling the owner of the Mets, what are like the top 3 things that you would tell the owner of the Mets to do coming into this season?
Sign Cody Bellinger. Start DJ Stewart at DH over Mark Vientos. And
That's a lot.
I want Tommy Pham back.
Okay.
Wow. Now the coach comes out. He says, Jackson, give me 2 more things and they're done. What do you do for the Mets this year? It's unlimited funds. Go out on a limb. You're talking fantasy baseball now, Jackson. You got $300 million. Who do you go for?
Acuna.
The Mets rivals, Ronald Acuna.
But he's the best player in baseball right now.
He is. Not named Aaron Judge. You think Acuna is the best player?
100%.
Now, what was his stats last year? Because he had a pretty impressive year, right?
41 home runs, 73 stolen bases. I don't know the RBIs. I don't know the rest, but I know that. And
More than
there is.
no, that's.
You
that's
want to know
more than
someone?
that.
There's someone
He's
watching
giving
right
off
now
these
that
stats.
knows
He's
all
going,
those
"Oh, that's all
stats.
I know.
Tell us who he plays for.
Who, Acuna? The Atlanta Braves.
Atlanta Braves. And John, who's my son, that's his favorite team since he's your age, even before. People say, oh, you jump on the bandwagon, they won all those championships. Well, guess what? When my boy was your age, they were in the basement. That's when Chris Chambliss played way back in the day, David Justice and all them guys. But who brought you into baseball? Like, how did you start following baseball? How did you get into it?
So when I started getting into baseball was like towards the beginning of 2022. It was because I was watching a bunch of YouTube, and my dad with like all of his fantasy football. He did fantasy baseball at one point, all that stuff, and he would always put on Mets games. All of his cards, everything.
So tell us, how old are you?
10.
Oh, so you're 10. So you're talking 2 years ago, you got into this, and you have all this knowledge. So you know what? If someone from ESPN or any of the sports networks were watching right now, I think they'd say that's pretty cool.
You agree?
Yeah.
So who's here with you on vacation?
My dad and my mom and my grandma. My grandma and my mom left 2 days ago, and my mom's coming back on Friday.
Okay, so people watching out here tonight, you know, we're talking about sports, but let's just talk right back at your home. You mentioned mom and dad, so we just want to ask you a question before we bring in our next guest. Who's the better cook at home, mom or dad?
Yeah, one right answer.
Breakfast-wise, it's mom. Mom.
He goes with mom. Good having you tonight. Hey, let's hear it for Jackson.
Oh, man. Oh, my goodness. Doc, I'm speechless. Because you have, you know, I mean, when we were growing up, we had the newspaper. You know, we had a couple of radio stations and TV stations. I mean, we grew up around the same time. But I don't know if it's just because that, you know, the kids now have more resources and there's, you know, fantasy baseball and everything. But man, Jackson, he was on top of everything. He was like an encyclopedia. And I'll tell you what, if he's not playing for the Mets, he can definitely call the games. He could be an analyst. This kid's got a future in anything sports, broadcasting. Tell him to go to Oswego for broadcasting. I think we'll line him up with a scholarship. Man, Bo Jackson, Ronald Acuna, Sports Almanac here at the Villaroma.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so we're talking about the Mets, right? We got to have some Met talk in here. Bobby's wearing his Yankee stuff, and we got the Yankees that just reported for spring training, Doc. And we don't want to say it's a go big or go home year. That's always the case, but it's pretty much, this is the best chance that they've had since, I want to say 2009, really, that the Yankees have had. And we got Yankee fans here at the Villaroma, and we got some Met fans, but mostly it's a Yankee predominant resort. And who else are we going to bring on, Doc?
We have any Yankee fans over there?
Here
Here we go now.
Yeah, come on now. The Diamondbacks. All right, tell the folks watching, the thousands and thousands watching at home and around the globe. Name, what's your team? Tell us everything. Give us the whole bio about you.
So my name is Alex from Long Island. I'm 17 and I'm watching sports pretty much my whole life. In terms of the four major sports, my teams are, I'm a Yankees fan, I'm a Rangers fan, I'm a Knicks fan, and then I'm a Packers fan, no? Don't ask how that happened. My dad grew up a Packers fan, so I just got raised as one.
Packers back.
Packers are back. Great season this year.
All right. Well, I mean, we were just talking about baseball, but I think we got to talk NFL a little bit because I'm a Jet fan. You're a Packers fan. Immediately when that trade came out,
I cried.
you cried. So you weren't excited about the future. It was very emotional for you saying goodbye to Aaron Rodgers.
It was definitely hard to say goodbye to Aaron Rodgers. And to say goodbye to Devontae the year before that too was also difficult. Just to see those two guys leave it was very difficult. And not that I didn't have faith in Jordan Love, it's just we hadn't really seen anything from him besides that one Chiefs game where it's a little iffy. So you're always worried about going into the future with someone you don't really know much about. It's not like it's a guy like Caleb Williams or Bo Nix or Drake May coming out of this year's draft. It's not like you got a guy like that's like a big name prospect. No one really talking about Jordan Love. So to go into your future with a guy like that, it's a little scary. But I think he played great this season, and I'm looking forward. I'm looking forward to the future with this core, this young core.
And you think that the Packers should have won against the Niners? Do you think that they gave that away?
Oh man, that was tough to watch. Listen, as much as people were blaming Jordan Love for that last drive interception, I think there was so many more factors going into that. Overall, they kind of just gave up almost. It was rough.
And were you one of the Packer fans that was saying, no one expected us to be in the playoffs the first year of the Jordan Love era? This was just more than what we expected. We're happy with it. Or after the game against the Niners and they lose, where you just deflated and you wanted to go basically to the Super Bowl. It wasn't like, oh, we're playing with house money, we can do what we want. Or were you, did you think that you guys exceeded expectations by a lot, or did you want to just go to the Super Bowl and it was either that or nothing?
Yeah, no. So I think for a large majority of the season, I was on that train of like, oh, no one expected us to get this far. We got a young core. Jordan Love's first real season. Our wide receiver core is like practically all rookies. No one expected us to get this far. I thought that until we went into the second half winning against the Niners, and I'm like, wow, we might actually be able to pull this off. Something that Rodgers struggled to do. Actually, Rodgers never did. And I'm like, wow, we might pull this off, and then to collapse that almost hurt more because it's like, damn, we actually could have had it and exceeded expectations even more.
So how many wins did the Packers have this season?
They went 9-8 this season.
All right, 9-8. So that's not really dominating the league. That's a tough league to be in. So even with 9 wins, do you think they can come back with a healthy Jordan Love and get a nice 12 or 13 wins, be top seed, and then go in with the confidence?
I think they can definitely. I think they can definitely improve. I think they're definitely going to improve from 9 wins this season. The only thing is with the division they're in, I'm not sure if they're going to be taking that top spot just because the Lions are now such a powerhouse. You got Amon-Ra St. Brown, you got Jared Goff playing great. I'm a big Jared Goff guy, even as a Packers fan. You got the Vikings who are bound to bounce back. They were decimated with injuries this year. They're bound to bounce back somewhat. When you got Justin Jefferson on your team healthy the entire year.
So what's going on with the NFL? I just saw it recently with Greenlaw running onto the field, Aaron Rodgers running onto the field, both like Achilles tendon injuries. Do you think there's something going on with the safety of the NFL or the condition of the field?
It's turf. It's turf. Turf kills people. I mean, you see it. MetLife's a huge example. MetLife turf is not good. I mean, you see it all the time. Slip-ups. Leads to an Aaron Rodgers injury or an ACL injury. And I heard they're playing the World Cup there this year. World Cup Finals at MetLife this year. I'm honestly worried about some of those guys going in there. You never know what could happen on that turf.
Well, hold that point right there. They have to change the grass.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
a FIFA rule.
Yeah.
So even the other big stadiums around the country, hopefully you get an upgrade because they're not getting these games not having a grass field. So I'm not sure if AT&T Stadium is what they have, but they got to go to grass field as well. So that's going to hopefully help sports overall.
That's good.
Well, a lot of people don't know
about that.
In Scranton Wilkes-Barre, before it became the Yankees, that was turf because it was the Phillies affiliation. But when they became the Yankees, then they took the turf out, then they put grass. Because they don't want their minor leagues learning
Yeah.
on something that they don't have at home.
Smart move.
Anyway, with the grass. All right. So the Packers, he said goodbye to Rodgers. A couple players up in the air going into next year. I mean, guys like Bakhtiari. I guess you could say maybe Jair Alexander. Possibly.
I don't think Jair's going anywhere. There's all these rumors and he's saying stuff. But it's kind of like you look at something like Debo last year. Debo was going off saying crazy things, how he wanted to leave. You know, he was holding out for so long and then just ended up signing anyway. I think it's a similar thing going on with Jair. It's all just kind of a media act in a way.
And you think it's all about the money?
I think for some guys definitely. There was actually an interview recently with, going back to baseball a little bit, with the Angels star Anthony Rendon. There's an interview with him. Basically, he's been hurt a lot lately, and it was an interviewer asking him if baseball was still a top priority of his. And his response to that was basically like, it's his job now. He has a family, he's got kids, he's got a wife, and it's basically like, he said in the interview, like, his priorities have shifted now, and it's like, he's still going to do this because he's here, it's his job. So I think for some guys, money is a driving force. But I truly think a large portion of the guys just truly enjoy the game, love the game.
Well, real quick. The problem with football is it's not guaranteed money.
Exactly.
So every other sport, they sign the contract, they're getting our money regardless.
Yeah.
Look at the Brooklyn Nets. They fired Jock Vaughn. Well, they'll get paid the next 4 years.
Yeah, exactly.
But-
Take the Bobby Bonilla contract for the Mets. Famous Bobby
Allen
Bonilla.
Houston, Chris
Houston.
Jock.
Rick DiPietro for the Isles, I'm pretty sure. Wasn't that a bad contract? Yeah.
So what do you think about the guys on the other end? They're making the big bucks, but they could sign, they could go to spring training on the day that they're supposed to, but they're early working out. What do you think about those guys like Aaron Judge that actually are working out year round?
You see guys
Yeah.
like Stanton coming in nice and slow, right?
That's great to see. Guys like that and like Vlad Guerrero Jr. like 2 years ago coming in spring training almost. I remember I saw the photo of Stanton. I barely recognized him.
Yeah, it's
He looks great. I mean, it's those guys. You know, there's still a large portion of the professional athletes. They truly love the game and are obsessed with the game, or else like they wouldn't be here. I mean, like you said, like Stanton, like Judge, like Vlad, they're all coming in ready to work, ready to hustle, ready to give it their all.
Okay, so we know that you're young. You're in high school.
Yeah, I'm a senior in high school.
Okay, senior in high school. You've got all this knowledge of sports, from baseball to football and beyond. But let's go back to somebody in sports. I know you know the name. Former Cincinnati Red, Pete Rose. Will Pete, in your estimation, will Pete ever get into the Hall?
As much as I think he should, he never will. As much as he deserves it, and as much as I think he should, it's the MLB with their Hall of Fame stuff is so stingy with stuff like that. It's never gonna happen.
It's credibility every year.
What about Mark McGuire?
Same. I think if your name is like directly linked to steroids, I think you got no shot.
Even never knowingly doing it?
I think it's as ridiculous as it is. As much as I think every single one of those guys should get in, like guys like Mark McGuire, Sammy Sosa, Barry Bonds.
Even with the cork in the bat and the steroids combined?
Sammy. I forgot about the cork in the bat with Sammy Sosa. He reminded me of that. That might be a little bit of a different case, but I think guys like that with the.
But how do you feel? I don't mean to interrupt you, but how do you feel? He's your idol now. Sammy Sosa was my idol. Okay, now he's linked to steroids. It's in the news. Now you're watching the game on television. He swings and he hits this home run, monster home run, but the back
That's
breaks.
corked, yeah.
So you see it. Now, how do you feel as a fan? How do you feel?
That leaves a mark. That the cork bat definitely leaves a much larger mark than the steroids being linked to steroids, because you see it, it's there, it's proven. It's not like the steroid cases where it's just like, oh, your name's linked to this, so like you're not getting in. No, we saw it. He got thrown out because of it. They had the evidence right there in front of them for everyone to see. So I think that leaves a much bigger mark for, and it harms the game of baseball. It harms the fans looking up to him. It harms the team morale. It
Okay.
harms.
Here we go. Here's another question. The world wants to know, and I want to know. I want to know your opinion on this. I watched this with my own eyes. This is before instant replay was instituted, and probably one of the reasons why instant replay was instituted, even though I don't agree with some of it. Okay, I can't even recall the pitcher's name, but I feel so bad for him. He's pitching a perfect game.
Oh,
There's a play at first base.
Armando Galarraga.
Now,
I forget the year.
Now, even though the umpire admits after the game he's
Yeah.
made a mistake, it's not in the record books as a perfect game. How does that make you feel?
I mean, it's tough to watch. I mean, the amount of times I've seen that clip, and every time it like doesn't get old in the wrong way. Like, it doesn't get old in the sense that I will watch that clip every single time and will just shake my head afterwards and be like
Now, should that be reinstated? Should they know that that's an instant replay to watch that clip?
Everyone knows it already happened, right? So
yeah, I mean,
it's not like it needs to be official in the books for everyone to know that
yeah.
he did it.
I think if you ask like 90% of MLB fans, they'll say they'll pretty much have it in their heads that he threw a perfect game that day. Although it will never be officially in the books, unfortunately.
All right, nitty gritty. Yankees spring training coming up. If the Yankees go into the regular season, Game 1 in late March, beginning of April, with this roster right now, would you be happy? Or do you think that they need to add one more piece, whether it be another bullpen arm, whether it be another starting pitcher? Would you be happy if it was the same roster? And if not, who would you add or bring onto this Yankee team to kind of put the cherry on top of what's been pretty impressive and jam-packed offseason?
I will say, this is probably a top 3, if not the best offseason that I've gotten to witness as a Yankee fan with my own 2 eyes, because I love Juan Soto. I think Juan Soto is a top 3 pure hitter in the league. I think he's a top 10 player in the league at minimum. I love Juan Soto. I love his eye. He brings something to the Yankees that the Yankees never have, and that is someone who has a good eye, a good sense of the strike zone, doesn't strike out and takes walks. That is what, and is a lefty bat. That is the exact opposite of what a Yankee is. You've seen all these guys they've brought up throughout the years, and recently. I mean, you're talking about Stanton before. You know, you got guys like Gary Sanchez in the past. And you got guys like Joey Gallo they brought in, and Rizzo. I mean, Rizzo's a little better. I love the Rizzo pickup. I think Rizzo is still great and what the Yankees needed. But you look at all those guys, and they're power hitters. Everyone's looking for that short porch in right field, and I think it does change their game a little bit. But I think with Juan Soto, you have a solidified guy who won't change his game, and I think he's going to fit in great. But in terms of adding another guy, I think the Marcus Stroman pickup is really underrated. I think people are overlooking how good of a pickup that is, and that's really what this team needed. If the Yankees came out of this offseason without adding a starting pitching arm, I don't, no matter what they did, even if they got Juan Soto, if they didn't add another pitcher, I think it would have been a failed offseason.
It was only a reasonable deal. I mean, it was 3 years.
No, it was a great deal.
You have 2 huge contracts with
great deal.
Rodon and Cole. So the fact that you get a mid-level guy from Long
I
Island.
think Stroman's great too.
Yeah.
He wants to be here, and that, yeah.
Yeah. What you got,
I'll
Bobby?
give you 2 scenarios. A, with Juan Soto, we won the World Series this year, but he walks after that. Or B, we don't win this year, and we sign him to $50 million a year, which is going to be a little bit of a hamstring going forward. What do you think?
Oh man. See, that's a tough one. I mean, the thing is, you have to take the championship. Yeah, you have to take the championship. Because if you were to ask, yeah, I mean, you have to take the championship. I'm going to repeat myself. I'm repeating myself.
No, I agree. I think you go for the chip. He'll be an all-time Yankee even for one season.
Exactly.
Hey, Reggie Jackson was only here 4 years.
Exactly, and it's
Right.
like,
Need another monster contract.
and it's like, if they don't win that year, who's to say they're going to win with him in the next however many years they sign him for? If you can guarantee me a championship, it doesn't matter what happens in the
Sort
next
of
year.
like the same scenario as the New York Jets.
Yeah,
You bring back Mike White, you get the
Enzo
chip.
better.
You get the chip.
You said you're Knicks guy, right?
That's our obligatory Mike White reference from Doc right there.
Mike White. That's something I didn't expect to hear tonight.
No, not at all. And
Pleasant surprise. Pleasant surprise.
and you said you're Knicks guy, right? Knicks.
Yeah, Knicks guy.
So
Although basketball is probably the sport I'm least involved in, but I've been getting back into it with the Knicks' recent success, I'll be honest.
it's tough to stay involved when they've been so mediocre
Yeah.
the last few years.
I mean, I just was never really a huge basketball guy. I'm more of a baseball, hockey guy. But with the Knicks' recent success, it's kind of hard to ignore it. Especially you got a guy like Jalen Brunson in there.
So we'll ask you
Oh,
one.
Jalen Brunson's been fantastic.
All-star.
So just the one Knicks question for you. Do you think that they're contenders? Do you think they're pretenders? Do you think they're real?
I think
Or
with
do you
a healthy
they're
I think with a healthy lineup they can take anyone down, and I think it's mainly because that OG Anunoby trade. As much as I hated to see Barrett and Quickly go when it was announced, and my first reaction was like, what are they doing? It has been a game changer for this team, quite literally, in the sense that they've become such a strong defensive core now with OG and just that whole team. I feel like OG just being there has just strengthened that
5 guys,
team.
double figures.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's OG is an elite perimeter defender, and he's just brought such a defensive mindset to the team, I think. And they see it in the numbers. Their defensive rating since OG came has gone up tremendously. I can't remember exactly what they were ranked in the league, but I'm pretty sure it was at least the top 7, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
But, and defense always wins you games, especially in today's game.
Here's my Knicks hot take real quick. Knicks are going to lose in the second round. They're going to fire Thibodeau. They're going to hire Jay Wright because he has 3 Villanova players of his already there. And then that's going to be their extension. Because Thibodeau is, as Doc's son John will attest to, he's going to wear everybody out like he does every year.
Yeah, I mean,
but I think Jay Wright comes in when his players already there and other superstars, and we'll see what happens.
I will say the one team that scares me right now in the East is the Cleveland Cavaliers. That Cleveland team is scary. I will say that. Donovan Mitchell is unbelievable. I mean, you got role players like Karis LeVert. If Darius Garland can step it up in the playoffs along with Donovan Mitchell, that's a scary team. But I think if the Knicks keep this defensive core and have a healthy lineup going in there, it's gonna be fun to watch.
What do you think if they bring the 3-point line back? We're talking about maybe making it a little further back.
Steph Curry will still find a way to put up 10 3-pointers a game. It doesn't matter. Okay?
All right. Last question before you let you go. You're a Ranger fan too, right?
Yes.
All right.
Always.
Yes or no question. Was that a goal? Was it a goal against the
Absolutely.
Islanders?
Absolutely.
All right. My man. My
No way
man.
it wasn't. No. That's not even my bias. Thank you for having me.
There we go.
Thank you for having me.
We get an Islander fan on.
They're gonna tell us different.
Hey, Dobson moved the net himself. It's a good goal.
That's right. Man, look at this Doc. We got a lot of sports knowledge here, week 7. We gotta do this more often. We should have signed up at the beginning of the week and made this daily show. We got all these sports fans here that we didn't know about. But going back to Bobby's point about Jay Wright, you know, Bobby's had a lot of dumb takes. I think that might be one of the dumber ones. He's definitely up there for sure. He's had some that were just like, maybe you can make an argument for it, but Jay Wright coming back to the Knicks,
They're
and
called
not
hot
staying
takes.
at a
They're
cushy
called hot
college
takes.
job, that's just, you know, that's
I say you
that's
bring
that's
back,
hard. That's a bad one,
bring
Bobby.
back Patrick
D
Ewing.
plus.
Ooh,
Patrick Ewing. You
I
bring
was
him back.
awful in college.
College and pros are totally different. Patrick knows the Knicks.
Bobby, who's watching right now at home? Who's popped on? Vin Greco had to have made an appearance, right?
Let me look now.
Vin Greco,
Big Ranger fan out of
big
Lancaster.
Ranger fan. He definitely thinks that's a goal.
Yeah, Zook's famous Popeyes.
Yeah, and
Vin Greco, the biggest Ranger fan of all Ranger fans.
I can't tell right now, actually. But like I said, so I can't tell right now, but obviously a lot of the viewers come in after the fact, so we'll see what happens later on. But we can't tell the exact numbers at the moment, but there are people there. Guys, what were your thoughts about the this past weekend's outdoor series? Personally, I thought that they should have played Friday and Saturday, right? And then the two winners play on Monday. The ice is already there. Everybody's close by, so you can sell tickets pretty quickly. But or as a package for the whole weekend. But I thought there should have been like a little series out of it. What are your thoughts about this past weekend's NHL action outside? Besides being too cold.
no, that was a hit though. I think the weirdest part, you probably saw this, Bobby, was the people right outside the rink, and they were acting as if they were acting like it was real life. There were people walking a dog. There was someone riding a bike next to the whole rink. It looked like the Truman Show, pretty much. It was all fake. It was all staged. I think it was like for TV or something. It wasn't people actually like, you know, riding their bike or what. It was all staged. And then during the commercial, they'd stop. And then once they went back on, they'd do it all again. That was weird. But on MetLife, I mean, no one got hurt in MetLife, which is rare. Which is rare.
It's been at
The Boston at Fenway before, but they don't hold as many people. So Bobby's right. If you do a whole weekend out of it, but they're going to say, you know what? They're even taking a chance for those players to be injured on a non-regular surface. You know, even though the surface is nice. It reminds me of that basketball game played early in the season. Stephen J. said because so many people jumped on it on FanDuel. You know, if you're into betting. But this college game, what people didn't know, it was played on an aircraft carrier out at sea, and it was very windy. Remember, and people were missing baskets, so there was a low percentage of shots. So everybody was taking the under on the day. Right, Stephen J.
Oh my goodness.
And you can tell by how Doc told that story, he definitely had the over on that game. I don't think he's salty at all about that. And I think it was a success, though, Bobby. I mean, I know MetLife is a dump. I know it's both teams. I think it was because it was a great ending that definitely helped the series and how it looked overall. But just the controversial ending, everyone was watching. I think it worked out, though. But when you pack 60,000 Rangers and Islander fans, into a steel fishbowl, that's something that gets dicey. So, Bobby, who else do we have in the green room right now? No? No one else? All Point Sports? I know we got one person who's dying to be on. He says he is a everyday listener of All Point Sports. He was dying to come on. He kept hassling Doc Holliday for autographs earlier, but we said wait until after the show. And not only is he an NFL, NBA, MLB fan, but our next guest is a big horse racing here at the Villa Roma. He is a horse racing expert. And man, he's he's a regular here at the Villa Roma.
How you doing?
Yes, what's going on, brother?
You forced me to come on here.
Yes, we did. We had no, unfortunately, you can't bring your drink on because we don't have that sponsorship. We have another sponsor with Seltzer. But Tell us about your family. What are your teams? Tell the audience at home right now. We got a whole bunch of Villa Roma alumni here. Tell us all about it.
So, okay, thank you. My name is Dave from Staten Island, New York. Thank you. Big Met fan. I guess my dad was a Brooklyn Dodger fan, so we kind of grew up as Met fans. Yeah, right. And my wife's a Yankee fan. The kids, I think they are all kind of Met fans as well. But we are pretty much a split household. And my three boys, they play all different sports, and you know, it's a lot of fun.
Okay. So I want to ask you, Dave. We were just talking about the Rangers Islanders game.
Oh yes.
You watched the game?
I did. I watched some of it. Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't watch it all.
So, you know, some people were saying, how could the Rangers come back 89 seconds to go and then come back and then actually win the game, a controversial ending? Then let's go back to people who started to have rumors online. I'm watching online what people are saying about that game. And it kind of mirrored, and some people even answering that game were talking about the Super Bowl and how the Super Bowl ended. And then you hear the word over and over again, scripted, it's scripted. What's your thoughts on if someone said, hey, it's scripted?
Well, you know what? That's a tough call. I mean, with the Chiefs and everything, it's either a fan of them or you're not. So if you're a fan of them, you're going to say it's not scripted, and if you're not a fan of them, I'm sure you'll say that they always find a way to win. But but with the Rangers and Islander game, I mean, I don't know. As a New York fan, I guess I was in a no-lose situation then.
You were watching up here on the Mets?
Yeah, a little bit, yeah. But it was 5-5, and then I think I caught it towards the end when it was in overtime. I was with the kids.
And
but-
tell us about, you're here at the Villa Roma, the Emerald Society's here at the Villa Roma, a lot of them watching the game, the place is packed. Okay, there's a camaraderie of fans. There's both Rangers and Islander fans, but you could say there was a majority of Ranger fans.
Yes.
But how did that make you feel when you heard the eruption on that goal? Tell us what it was like to be here at the Villa Roma.
Yeah, it was great. I mean, there were a lot of fans here. I mean, Ranger fans, for instance. So it was very exciting, very exciting. But there was some controversy there towards the end. But for the most part, a lot of Ranger fans here. Everybody was happy.
How about the tying goal? Tell us about. I was downstairs working on the sheets,
Yeah.
and when you could, I was saying something happened here.
Yeah, it was crazy. I mean, it was a great game. I mean, just being outdoors like the way it was, and the New Jerseys and everything, just from the get-go, it was just a great atmosphere to begin with. But I mean, what a game! You couldn't have scripted that one.
Yeah.
You couldn't have scripted that one. I mean, it was a hell of a game.
And you couldn't pick a better environment, a better matchup, a better scenery, with the uniforms and everything. It just worked out perfect.
I would have liked to take the kids to that game. I mean, it was cold out there, but we were coming up here, so nothing beats Philly.
Here we go.
Nothing beats Philly.
And you're a Met fan.
I'm a Met fan.
You said that you're a diehard Met fan, like lifelong Met fan.
Yeah. I guess we were kind of, I mean, I'm a New York fan. I'm not a New York Yankee hater like my dad used to say. Like he just hates them. He just roots for whatever team is playing them. You know what I mean?
Really?
That type of hater.
Okay.
I'm
He's
a
a
New York
jealous
fan.
Met fan, pretty much. Okay.
I'm a New York fan. So I pretty
Insecure
much
Met fans like
enjoy watching
Stephanie
them play.
watching. So are you excited? I can't say are you excited about the season because I think we know the answer. But are you optimistic that the Mets, now that they're the underdog, that they could, sneak into the postseason as opposed to last year where the pressure was on them? Or do you just think that it's going to be one of those years where you take the good as it comes and the bad that you're going to kind of realize that's what you expected?
Right. Well, it's tough being a Met fan. I mean, you always say that. This is going to be the year. But I mean, look, they have talented ball players. It's just a matter of putting things together, playing a bunch of good games. I don't know. I'd like to be optimistic, but you know what? Like I said, I'm still going to watch them play. I hope for the best. Yankees too. I mean, everybody's looking at the Dodgers now, with their team. But listen, as long as they're competitive, then that's fine.
All right. You guys go to a lot of Mets games?
Yeah, we
with
do.
them?
We do. We do catch a lot of Met games, and not so many Yankee games. But you know what it is with the Mets at Citi Field. It's more kid friendly, like
Yes.
family friendly atmosphere. There's things for kids to do. I'm not taking anything away from Yankee Stadium, but it's Citi Field. The kids enjoy going there. Not
Yeah,
go there
I
and
mean,
play.
Yankee
There's a lot
Stadium,
of things
it's
to
like
do.
the
It's
baseball's the
historic.
focus,
Yeah.
and that's it.
Yeah.
Whereas the Mets, they have a whole bunch of stuff where, I mean, when you have a family, it's much better to go out there and watch them. You got all the stuff there.
And how about that center field? It's almost like a food court
Yeah.
type of atmosphere in that center field area.
We get there early. We try to get there early. We get there like an hour and a half before the game. We catch a little bit of batting practice with the visiting team. We're good for a ball or two. Always catch one in left field somewhere. Or we get a toss up from some of the players.
Nice.
It's a good time. So the kids and I always go. And yeah, like I said, just we walk around before we go to our seats, and just being there, the atmosphere is great.
All right, so give or take, you're about 25 years old, and you've seen some Met games for 25 years. Is there like one moment that sticks out to you, whether good or bad, that kind of you either look back on fondly or that haunts you as a Met fan? I mean, what would you say as kind of the resident Met fan here on the show right now? What's like one moment that stuck out to you?
Probably two things. Just being a Gary Carter fan. I don't know if there's too many Gary Carter fans. Even when he was with the Expos, I enjoyed watching him play. But I guess it was when they won. You know what I mean? That was a great time. And then a couple of years ago with McNeil and a lot of the players, they had career years, and that's when they won over 100 games or something a couple of years ago.
Yep.
So those were two times that it was really fun watching them play. And then, like I said, the talent's the same, but I mean, they all have to play well. They all have to have career years to be able to win 110 games like they did. So those two times, I think it was a couple of years ago when they played well. I think that was the year McNeil won the batting title, right? And then maybe it was like 86 when they won. And Gary Carter was there. That's a great time too.
Bobby, Gary Carter, any stories on him? Anything you know about Gary Carter? It's a little before my time, but I know that Bobby's the baseball.
Well, I could say I don't know if Dave remembers, but the Mets when Mookie Wilson and Billy Buckner.
Hit that ball down the first baseline.
But see, now what a lot of people don't remember is prior to him hitting that ball through Buckner's legs, the pitcher, whoever the pitcher was for the Red Sox, actually the ball was coming right at Mookie. If you watch on the replays, but Mookie had to jump out of the way of that ball, and if that ball hits Mookie, it's a whole different ball game. But he jumped out of the way, and that's what stands out in my mind. Now, he did hit the next one through Billy Buckner's legs, and
There were so many historical at-bats prior to that situation. That was the situation that got, what was it, Ray Knight? That was his name?
Ray Knight, third baseman.
Right, who actually scored maybe? I think he scored, or it might have been, I don't know, but there was so many at-bats leading up to that. That whole inning of drama was just
And see, people thought that was the last game, but that puts the Mets in the final now.
Yeah.
That was the sixth game. You remember that, Bobby?
What's that?
When Mookie jumps out of the way of that ball and then he hits the ball through Buckner's legs against the Red Sox, the Mets, back in, you were a little kid. You was in grade school.
I'm a Yankee fan. I wasn't watching that.
I was in the service then. I remember. I was actually in California.
All right, before we let you go, you said that your sons play baseball too, right?
They do.
Tell us how that's going.
Oh, they're doing great.
Killing it, right?
They're killing it. Yeah, I got three boys. My oldest
My mom's cousin pitched for that, so I was never a hater. Never a
one's
fan.
a junior, one's a sophomore. They play baseball for them. And they're really talented. I enjoy watching them play. I played ball when I was a kid, and I got drafted. Had a short stint in the minors with the Warriors. That didn't work out, and then of course, now I'm a detective. And 26 years later, and here we are.
But we are.
The kids,
All led to this moment right here.
the kids are incredible, and I hope they won. They won last year, the Catholic School Championship, I guess it was, and I'm hoping that they'll have another great year.
Nice.
And you play some table tennis. We played in the past. Tell
Not
us
like you,
about your
not
table
like you.
tennis game.
You know what? The kids enjoy it. We play and we have the table at home, and we try to play as much as possible. But they look forward to coming up here and playing with you, Doc. You know, they really do. I know they're not gonna win, but you know what?
Yeah,
they
Bobby doesn't give the kids a chance.
they look forward to it. They look forward to it.
What about pickleball? You play pickleball?
Pickleball's been big. Big up here, big at home too. Actually, they have it by my office out in the street. It's actually pretty funny. You can play it anytime. It's really great. Downtown Manhattan. And I noticed they had 2 pickleball courts set up by the Seaport there.
Hold on. Doc, we got to do something this spring and summer where everybody's into pickleball, right? Gotta have like little mini tournaments every week.
All right.
Be like bocce.
25-hour buy-in.
Tournament.
You know,
Detectives versus Callicoon.
That'd be great. Good time. Thank you.
One more question before we let you go. Horse racing. You're
Oh.
a big horse racing guy. Who's winning tomorrow? We got 10 horses racing.
Oh my goodness.
Got a couple of first-time starters in there.
First time starters.
Flying
am I coming
blind.
out of the stable finally? It's been 8 months
We
now,
got
Doc.
some new horses.
No,
Yes.
we took Bobby's
Big
horse behind the barn.
Inch is in there.
You know what? Listen, there's always some new blood that comes along, but I'd always put my money on Striker Pete.
Striker Pete is out tomorrow.
Oh, he's out?
Striker Pete.
So Striker Pete's out. And
about-
Levine's Dream might be out too, so we have,
I was
No,
gonna say the
Levine's
next
Dream
horse.
is in.
The number
Levine's
6 horse.
Dream won the feature on the first day.
that's right. So
Paid a big price the next day.
we go,
20 to 1, 22 to
we
1.
go with Levine's Dream.
All right, you heard it here first.
Number 6, he's
6.
picking.
Thank you guys so much.
Maybe tomorrow we'll actually broadcast the horse racing.
Thank
Maybe.
you, Doc. Thank you.
Yeah.
Levine's dream. His dream became a reality to be on the show. He's a
Very
little,
happy to be here.
Yeah, dude.
you know, I wouldn't say he was starstruck. I mean, being with us in person as opposed to seeing us on the TV or the phone, it's a little different. But I think he handled it well for his first time in media. All right, so we got Doc, Stephen J, and you, Bobby. Who we got in the green room next? I know someone's waiting. Oh, come on. One or the other. If not, we'll have Dad come up. We'll talk some Packers too, because I got some more questions about A-Rod and the Packers and the
Mike
Jets.
White's return to the Jets.
Of course.
All right.
There we go. Oh no, rugby player.
Hey, Doc, I have a quick question for you. Doc, quick question for you.
That was good, Doc.
Who's going to make more money in their NFL career? Your Mike White or Tommy Cutlets?
Oh, Mike White. Mike White.
All right.
I love you, Tommy, but
Should bring my son back.
We might have to for a little debate on. I know we got a Jet fan, we got a Packers fan, right? I think we got
Giants,
the
Rangers,
Giants. All right, we'll definitely talk about the Giant fan. I thought. All right.
You're a Jet fan?
No.
All right, not a Jet fan.
Emphatically.
I'm a loser.
But we want to find out in the chat at home, Bob.
We got Jet fans coming now.
Oh, there you go.
But we want to find out. Here's the scenario. You have tickets to the preseason Jets versus Dallas. You're going to see... Actually, you have tickets to the Jets-Dallas game. You're going to see Aaron Rodgers play for the New York Jets. You're going to prepare to go to Dallas. And then all of a sudden, the season starts. Aaron's running onto the field. You're all pumped up as a New York Jet fan. And even not as a New York Jet fan, you feel good about Rodgers. The first play goes off, and
The fourth play.
what happens?
disaster.
Leonard
for the
Floyd
Jets.
strikes.
The Jets happened.
Absolute disaster for the
MetLife
Jets.
turf.
How do you
Rodgers gets
feel?
flushed.
You know what? I was a Packer fan. I've been following Aaron Rodgers through his career. I love Aaron Rodgers. I think the Packers did a good thing in getting rid of him and letting Love come in and formulate his own team and make the team his own. I think the Jets did a good thing because they
were a
I
quarterback
can't
away.
use that word.
Zach Wilson out.
I can't use that word, but they were not good. So I think they did a good thing bringing Aaron Rodgers in, at the very least, to bring consistency into the game of something they never had at the quarterback spot. And maybe they get someone in the draft that Rodgers could, mentor and bring along, just like he did with Jordan Love, and the same that Brett Favre did with Aaron Rodgers. That's why the Packers are good as far as the quarterback goes. They always bring someone in, and then they mentor them with a seasoned person that's good. So I think the Jets did a good thing with that, and then their whole season tanked after 4 plays.
4 plays.
I don't know.
Good times.
What are you gonna do? That's really horrible. Oh.
You said that you're to the Giants.
I like the Giants. I like the Packers.
Giants and the Packers.
Rangers, Yankees.
All right. A little bit of Giants talk.
I
Is
love
Danny
World Cup
Dimes.
soccer.
World Cup soccer. Bobby's big on soccer. He's our soccer salon. I know nothing about soccer.
No, that was a great point that he brought up, that you have to have grass on,
Yeah.
the thing. That's a great point. And that's why you see soccer players don't really get in it.
Yeah. And if Aaron Rodgers tearing his Achilles doesn't get the Jets to turn the grass, maybe the damn MLS or the World Cup, whatever it is, coming in my life. Maybe that's what we'll do.
I got a friend of mine that can supply the grass.
All right. So, like the Giants, is Danny Dimes the future? Are you excited about seeing Danny Dimes come back next year, maybe as a reset, saying that he
No.
took it to the playoffs in year 1?
No.
Or has this been it and just time for him to hit the exit signs?
That's a good question. I don't know.
Let a dead horse rest.
He was novel at the time. It was something new. He was fresh. But if you look at when he played, he won. But then people realized what he could do, and the teams adjusted. So he didn't kind of go past that and make it like, all right, I can adjust to you. So I didn't see that with him. Do I think he will be good eventually? Yes, but he needs time. I don't think he's ready for prime time right now, especially with the Giants. I don't think that's their answer. I don't know what their answer is.
Okay.
I don't think it's Jones. So I don't know what they do. When the draft comes up, you got to make a choice of what you want.
Not even Tommy Cutlets.
I don't know, man.
It's a fun story.
But here's the point. So again, and not to revert back to the Packers and stuff like that, but it's same similarities, and you need people behind them. So you can't just rely a quarterback. So let's go back in time. Tom Brady. Here is the epic question of all time: is Tom Brady the best quarterback ever? I don't know, because the Patriots put the money into other players besides just Tom Brady. So you had players and players. So not just one player, wasn't just Tom Brady. You had Gronkowski. You had all of these players that were on top of Tom Brady that he had to throw to. So look at Aaron Rodgers, all right, going back, the last 8 years, going into the Super Bowl. They should have won 2 times. The one time, Jordy Nelson gets hurt, and they lose. And the second time, all right, he gets hurt, and they lose. And honestly, they were right in the mix. They were definitely in the mix to win the Super Bowl, both of those years. And they didn't do it because one player gets hurt. So if you don't have the supporting cast behind just that one quarterback, if you bring a secondary quarterback in, you're done. There's nothing there.
Just like the Jets.
Just like the Jets, exactly. And the Giants, the same thing. They don't have any of that supporting. So Saquon Barkley with the Giants, I don't know. I'm on the fence with him. I don't know. What do you think? As far as him, like,
Bye, Saquon. Goodbye.
I kind of agree. He never, listen, he was given the opportunity. All right, he got a lot of handoffs. He got the ball in his hands a lot. And what did he do? What was his average? 2.3 yards per game or something like that?
You said you need the people around you. So if you don't have the offensive line,
But that's, so
or
therein
the
lies.
option, or the option.
Here's what I think. I've said this before.
Absolutely.
For the Giants running back situation, you signed Zach Moss, who had a great year backing up Taylor in Indianapolis, and you signed Donta Foreman for like $500,000, and bring up the rookie from last year, and you're saving $10 million right there for other needs for the Giants. You don't need Saquon Barkley this year.
Even to forget about that, just in the draft, pick a running back that you can put into your system. So the problem is you're bringing a running back in that's in a completely different system than when you want to run with a specific quarterback. So you need the quarterback and the running back to be on the same page. And you know what? If you bring someone in on the draft that's a running back, you can formulate to him whatever that quarterback is, or as Doc said, the offensive line. So the offensive line is the biggest key with a running back. If you don't have an offensive line, a running back's going nowhere.
Yeah.
You know, look at Miami; they were able to run, right? Because their offensive line was crazy. So I don't know, and the same with. So look at the last two teams of the season.
But it might take a few years to get that. You know,
But that's fine. That's okay. You know, listen. You're not coming out and winning the Super Bowl with one guy that you draft. You got to build up over time and everything like that. You know, but I really think in this day and age, a running back is a key part of the game. Look at Kansas City and San Francisco in the game. They were running. They weren't sitting there passing all day long. The running game set up the passing game.
Well, you have the option. You have that
Yeah.
Kansas City, the fullback, and you had Pacheco, whatever his name is, and,
Yep.
and Kelsey.
Well, a running
He
back.
had a record number of catches, and that's
Yeah.
I mean, Bobby and I have had this conversation before where a running back is a luxury that teams maybe can't afford. It's better to have an offensive line and running back by committee than have the running back and no offensive line. You could ask the Giants last year with Saquon. You could ask the Raiders last year with Jacobs. I mean, when you look at the Chiefs and the Ravens, I know the Ravens have a running back at quarterback, but they have a committee, the Ravens. The Chiefs had a committee. The 7th round pick was their running back. You don't need to
Pacheco,
invest
7th round pick, right there. Says it all.
to invest that much in a running back when they're a dime a dozen. I think that's why the market is going down.
But they had the options, and then the last option is for the quarterback. You look at his stats. Mahomes, he leads probably the team in rushing. So I mean, it's like that's the other option. So pass, handoff, run, and that's what they do. They go down the field and just get what they need.
Yep.
You know, and then when everybody's expecting the small play, then they come up with the big play. So and then if San Francisco shut them down for most of the way.
Yep.
You know, that's not what they were expecting. The game before, that punter probably had the game off. You know,
Yep.
he didn't punt until like the second half.
So if you were, so obviously you're rooting for the Packers, right, against the Niners.
Yeah.
And if they beat the Niners and they go on beat the Lions, are you confident in the Packers over the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, given the regular season?
I don't.
And you guys beat
I
the
don't-
Chiefs?
Well, they should have beaten the 49ers. So, in my opinion, they lost the game. The coach lost the game for them. on timeouts.
Yeah.
Because you did not give Jordan Love the opportunity to use the clock. So he had a minute something left, and he had to push it, and threw an interception. The whole scenario changes if he did not use those timeouts earlier, which were not necessary to do with where they were on the field and the positioning. If they had saved at least one of those timeouts, it's a whole different ball game with a minute left, and Jordan Love was pushing it, but he had to push it even further because of no timeout. So if you have one timeout left, I think that whole scenario changes. Not that they absolutely would have won, but you have a much better chance of winning the game with one timeout to be able to, get into the end zone. And they didn't even need to get into the end zone. You just need a field goal just to tie it up. Give yourself an opportunity. So I don't know. I don't think they would have beat Detroit.
You don't think so?
No.
Even, I can't remember going back to the season, but just the familiarity between the two. It's got to be an advantage for Packers, being that they're not,
Yeah, but
at least on paper, better than the
you're
Lions,
playing at
but
Detroit.
in Detroit, which
And
is they had to play in Santa Clara instead.
Detroit had a horrible game. I don't know. That's an up in the air game.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be confident.
Okay.
And could they beat? Listen, the Kansas City was an absolutely beatable team all season long. They were up against it the entire season, and I tell you what, I give them so much credit for winning because they persevered through adversity the entire season, and then to come up with the final play at the end of the listen, they deserve all the credit. The 49ers played an absolutely phenomenal game. But you got to hand it to the Chiefs.
All right, how about on the, and I didn't have any kind of wagers on the game or anything, and I talked to this Stephen J. But I'm watching on the internet and I see 4 plays that they show, and they circle each of the plays. It's not photo manipulation like I do with the AI. It's actual replays. Each of them, Kansas City holding blatant, not was it a penalty or not, blatant holding calls, each resulting in Chiefs either first downs or key plays, key in the game.
The most penalized holding team in the league, in the Super Bowl, no penalties.
So
no holding calls. Maybe one.
Yeah, so no holding call was called on 4 plays that I saw on just this one posting. How does that make you feel? Even that, I'm not a fan of Kansas City or San Francisco. I'm a Giant fan. My team wasn't there, but I am a fan of the NFL and football. So how does that make you feel as just an NFL fan?
You know what? That's tough. And that goes to the point of any sport. It's tough. Man, there are penalties. We're sitting there. Look at basketball. To me, there's too many penalties in basketball. All right. I think football took a step back because I think what was it about 3 or 4 years ago? They started just like really hammering the penalty, and it was like every other play was like a penalty, and it's like enough. You have to let them be a little physical. How? The same thing. You gotta let them be a little bit physical. Like you can't just nitty gritty everything. Like basketball drives me nuts.
Okay, how about this now? I just saw it recently. It was the New York Knicks. I don't know who they were playing, but they're in the game and they're winning. And the other team has the ball against the Knicks, and the guy puts up a shot, and the ref calls a penalty. So now the other team ends up winning the game, and after the game is over, the actual referee says that called the penalty, That was incidental contact. It should not have been. It was after the shot. It should not have been a penalty. It doesn't change the outcome of the game. He went out and says this. It's like going over the edge on a roller coaster.
Yep.
You know, how does that make you feel? It's not a good feeling in sports, and it's over and over again you hear of too many penalties, mistakes, missed calls.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. It's a travesty that a game should be decided by a referee. But what's the solution? So look at baseball. All right. So if you're in minor league baseball now, everything is with the computer. So balls and strikes are called by a computer. Is that what? But then again, it also takes away the human part of the game. So referees making good or bad calls is all part of the game. I heard you talking about the Ranger Island game earlier with the goal. Like, to me, that's a goal, right? Because the puck was, and they called it right, and it's actually specifically to your point, is there was, the puck was hit, and the net was hit off incidental to the puck going past the goalie and on the way in. So like the referees did the right thing. You do a review. So I'm a fan of the review to get things right, like they do it in football and college football and everything like that. Make it to where it's correct. You know, unfortunately, like you bring up basketball, that's hard to do. Like, because there's a foul every 2 seconds. And the incidental foul. So a guy goes up to shoot. After he's already let go of the ball and his hand gets hit, that's not a penalty. There shouldn't be a foul. There's no reason for it to be a foul. It didn't interfere with his actual shot. So if he misses or he makes it makes no difference. It didn't change what was going to happen with that shot. If it's while the shot's going up, all right, that's a foul. Great.
Maybe there should be accountability.
There should. I honestly, I agree. You know what? Grade the referees and make changes on the actual league standards. All right, judge the umpires or the referees, and you know, make changes and say, well, you can't do these games anymore. I'm sorry. I don't know.
Bobby's telling us we're right up against it.
Yeah, about 5 more minutes. I want to get my jet guy on real quick.
Yeah. All right.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much. I
Appreciate it.
appreciate it.
All right, let's bring on a resident Jet fan here. He's been patiently
He
waiting.
has all Aaron
We got-
Rodgers knowledge.
Who's Jet?
Yeah.
All right, we're right up against it, so we got to go rapid
Yeah.
fire here. My fellow Jet fan, we're both just
pleasure to be here,
suckers. We're
Oh,
losers.
you're okay.
And,
Yeah, that's a painful existence. Notre Dame Jets.
It is.
Yeah.
Oh no. Just like
Yeah.
I think the Notre Dame. I think they're pathetic, just like the Jets. But I'm not a Notre Dame fan. I'm not like Bobby. All right. So Jets, Aaron Rodgers this year. They got an off season ahead of them. That's a lot different than last year. It's not just like they need one piece and that's it. Now they need to kind of do some twists and turns and get kind of creative with it. Offensive line, receivers. I mean, you're the GM, you're Joe Douglas, you're Robert Saleh taking people's phones. What do you do in this offseason to make this upcoming year the opposite of this past year's nightmare?
Well, obviously, I mean, you looked at what happened last season, and ultimately what derailed us 4 seasons in was Aaron, as Mr. Baker touched upon earlier, tearing his Achilles 4 plays into it. You know, ultimately it was a disaster waiting to happen, right? With the atrocious offensive line that we had, it was just a matter of time before something like that happened to Rodgers. So, priority number 1 going into the draft. Obviously, you know, we have I believe the 10th, maybe the 13th pick. I think the 10th. We got the 10th pick. You know, there's some names out there from Notre Dame, Joe Alt. You got the kid from Penn State at left tackle. you know, if I'm Joe Douglas, I know a lot of GMs are different strategically when it comes to the draft, whether it's best player on the board or filling that position need. But if I'm Joe Douglas, I'm just going all in on the offensive line this year. Maybe you pick up another weapon on the cheap if you can. Maybe a receiver like Cortland Sutton out of Denver, or a Donovan Peoples-Jones out of Cleveland. But it doesn't look like we're going to go get Devontae Adams. I mean, obviously that would be ideal, but like, you know, at this juncture, I think that we just go after a middle tier wide receiver who can complement Garrett Wilson, who's obviously our number one. Because we were a little short in receiver depth last year, obviously with Xavier Gibson being receiver number 2. It just goes to show we could use a little bit more depth there. So, yeah, go after a receiver and then load up on offensive line.
Now, do you think that Robert Sala's the guy?
Yeah, I mean, last year I think we all went into the season thinking this is like the prove it year for Joe Douglas, GM, and Robert Saleh, head coach. You know, it's playoffs or bust going into last season.
Yep.
But excuses, injury is an excuse in sports. I'm sorry, it really is. And with Rodgers going down, it's a viable excuse. Unfortunately, the Jets weren't able to make the adjustments with Zach Wilson at quarterback. But I'm giving them another year of leeway going into this season. I think we are at a divisional round mandate. If we do not get to at least a divisional round in this season, then unfortunately it's the National Football League. You got to cut ties with these guys. But I do want to give them this year.
Yeah, I know that just the league has become so offensive with
Coaches, you know, you have Stefanski, you have Steichen, and they had backup quarterbacks come in and obviously have better records than the Jets. That's obviously different on Saleh, where it's not an indictment because he doesn't run the offense. But I mean, just how things blew up with the locker room, having unsatisfied players, just the turnstile at the quarterback position. I mean, just sometimes it all comes down to stability at the head coaching position. I think if, you know, the Jets' game plan is, all right, well, we have to have incredible defense for Robert Saleh to be a good coach. I can't, you know, give that to Saleh being a credit to him as a credit to
He wasn't even calling the plays.
great pieces. So, I mean, as a man, I like him. Obviously, like you said, it's a hardcore playoff mandate, which, you know, the Johnsons don't do, but he pretty much said that a couple of weeks ago, that it's playoffs or bust for this team. And we're hoping Rodgers just stays as long as he can.
Yes.
And, I mean, personally, I don't think Saleh's the guy.
Really?
I just think in 5 years you get rid of Rodgers and he, you know, big kumbaya guy, great person, but I don't see him as the motivator, because we've seen key games this year where it's win or they're out of the playoffs, or this is a big bulletin board material. Really, it was just that Broncos game, but later on in the year, as they kept trying to push into the wild card, kept trying to beat these good teams, I mean, they just
went on that 5-game hiatus.
It just embarrassing against, you know, some of these big games that they need to win, or they're eliminated, or, you know, I just can't see Saleh being the guy. So
Games.
we got Rodgers, Hackett, of course, coming back,
Ugh,
and
not a Hackett guy.
we got new unis, right? We got new unis.
We got new
That's
uniforms.
exciting.
The legacies are coming back. One last thing for me. I am on our new Podbean app, the New York Sports Take. If you're listening right now, you like the sound of my voice, go drop a follow in the New York Sports Take on Podbean. Thank you guys for letting me hop on for a couple minutes.
One more question.
I talk all things New York sports.
One more question for you.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts about Mike White?
Legend. Mike White is a New York legend. We should have brought him back this year. Instead, we went into the season without a viable backup quarterback, and that cost us the season. Pay your backups, people.
What a way to end the show.
Yeah. We still live? All right. Well, Doc, that was quite a night.
Yeah, it was fun.
That was
Thanks
quite a
for
show.
having me. Mike White, baby. Mike White.
J-E-T-S.
I was at the Mike White Miracle Game, Halloween. Never forget it. 2021.
J-E-T-S.
Unbelievable. Lifetime memory.
And maybe in another 20-something years, when our paths cross again, we say, are the Jets going to finally break that playoff drought? Maybe that'll still probably be going on, unfortunately. But hey, we got a lot of guests, Doc. We got a lot of different guests, a lot of different ranges, and we got a lot going on here at the Villaroma this upcoming week. And we want to thank you all for watching at home. Stephen J, Bobby Blackjack, Doc Holliday here, week 7 on the Mez live show, a success, talking all things sports. Special shout out Bobby Blackjack again for making this happen, and thank you all to everyone listening, everyone that joined All Point Sports. We'll see you next time.